Hello.
Hello.
Can you see me?
No, I can't. But
Oh,
also, you're welcome to keep your camera off, or if you want to turn it on, that's fine too. I'm actually just going, oh, you look great. I'm using just the like the voice, just the audio.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yes.
I just
I
want to make sure my audio is good. You hear me well?
I can. Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, perfect. I got you on my headphones. What is up? How is life?
Oh, things are going really well. How's life going for you?
Life is going. My daughter is getting a little older, so she's getting a little crazier.
Yeah.
So the house is hectic. She's actually doing okay now, but for the past few days, her sleeping schedule was off, so mine was off. I got to get back on track.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm doing great.
How old is she, if you don't mind me asking?
9 months, just a
9 months?
little over nine
And she's
months.
causing that much crazy?
Dude,
Is she
yeah.
crawling?
She's
Oh my
crawling
gosh.
fast and like everything in her reach is like a vase, anything in her reach is hers. Strong grip. She's strong and
Wow.
to she's hard to like take control of. Like to cordon off an area, she like breaks down
Oh
everything. She
my
breaks down every
gosh.
bear. She's a
That
nut
is
job.
good. That's gonna be great for her future.
Yeah,
But
maybe
right
she'll.
now, sad for dad.
Yeah, but she's doing better. I think she was a little sick, but
Oh,
she's doing better. So we're
that's
doing
good to
better. We're
hear.
sleeping.
Yeah. Is she your first and only?
Yeah.
Wow.
First and only for now, but we want to have more.
That's so exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
What about you? How is life?
Good. Yeah, things are rolling. I'm getting back into the podcast and I used to make like weekly, I would post weekly episodes, but now I'm doing more YouTube. And so now I'm just doing monthly episodes of where I'm just doing interviews now.
Got it.
Yeah,
Will
so
this be on YouTube?
no, actually, I thought about it, but I get way too like artsy and into it. So every time I tried to post an interview recently. I don't know if you saw it. But there was so much that like I had to cut out and I had to put in pictures because that's just my style of things. And it took days to
But you
edit.
don't cut anything. You don't cut anything out when you just do audio.
When I just do audio, I just go straight through. But I
You
feel
should
like,
just post the audio and video, F it, do no editing, and just throw it on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. Well, let me change my view. I don't know how the view shows up. Also, have on Zoom, have you seen the immersive view?
No, I don't use Zoom.
I don't know if it's gonna like work or not, but like there's just this weird, I don't know if you'll see it too, but there's this weird immersive view. So like it like puts us,
Hmm.
you see that?
I see you're just like in a circle now.
Oh, okay. So on my end, I'm seeing like a boardroom. It's really weird.
Oh, I see it now. That's cool.
Yeah, right? I know. I thought that was, and they have one that's
It's
like kind
definitely a
of
little weird
spooky.
because like you just see someone's if like only my head is showing,
Yeah.
then it's just like my head is sitting in a boardroom. That's a little weird.
Yes, it's very weird. Can you see the spooky room now?
Yes, this is actually pretty funny.
Right? Isn't that so silly?
But so then the recording of the podcast would just be us in that room.
I don't know. I've never tried it before. This is like a new thing for me. And usually when I do Zoom interviews, I just take the audio. So I'm not sure how it's gonna look, but like you said, fuck it. We just see how it goes. Cause yeah, it is good to have something extra to post too.
Well, because
Yeah.
the worst case scenario is if it's an MP4 that comes out of it, then you can still always turn that to an audio file. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
at least you have more, you can always you're working with more as opposed to
Yes.
like if you have an audio, you can't turn it into a video.
Exactly. Yeah. And Zoom gives you both. Like, so after we
Oh, got
finish
it.
this call, when you record it, it downloads both to your computer, which is really nice.
Got it.
So I'll have both. And
Nice.
yeah, so maybe I will just post it as it is and avoid trying to make it so pretty.
Yeah.
I'm so bad about that.
I tried to do that and it's unsustainable. So I
It
said,
is.
no
Yeah,
way.
especially for these like the longer interviews. When it comes to my regular videos, like I can edit those and it's fun and I've gotten like pretty fast at it. But then when it comes to the interviews, it's just like you have to listen to different points in the conversation and then add something based on the conversation. And
Yeah,
so
it's tough. It's
it's a
time
lot.
consuming.
Yeah, exactly. But at least when you're doing a regular video, you can plan it out. Like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, and this is where I'm going to be standing. And then I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to go into a different spot or use this like different editing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's work.
it is a lot of work. And so, yes, I even have like fuck it written on my sticky note here. So yes.
What are those?
It's my sticky note that just has like a few reminders for my business. So just about like serving people, having a great time, living your dream, fuck it, and whatever.
Okay. I love that. I like that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I learned it from the like marketing course that I'm in right now. So
nice. I have a thing that says lights, camera, action. Like don't lose your enthusiasm. Because when you're on this damn camera for you do post 3 videos a week.
Wow. You're
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they're all about 30 minutes to an hour. It is draining. You got to like come up with topics. You got to talk to people nonstop. You can lose your energy. So at one point I was like, I feel like I'm losing my energy. So I need to put this up here.
Yeah.
So never forget.
Good reminder. What did it, if you don't mind me asking, what does it say underneath?
It says the quality of your podcast hinges on the enthusiasm you come with. Don't wither. Otherwise, the podcast will never be a success.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's so true. And because people are drawn to your energy, like that's why people watch you, is because of your energy and what you bring to the table. So yeah,
I hope more people watch me, but yeah, no one's going to watch someone who's a vampire, like draining. No. You don't want to be drained.
Unless that's their style, you know.
Maybe there's a podcast for that. You got to be energized, inspired.
Yeah,
that's a podcast you gotta listen to.
Yes, exactly. And that comes across in your, like, I've watched some of your YouTube videos, and sometimes when I see it pop up on my like subscriber list, I'm just like, oh, cool. Let me see what else you talk about.
Are you on, you said you're on YouTube, but do you post on any other podcast platforms?
So originally I download everything through Anchor, and Anchor distributes it amongst like several different platforms. So I think I'm like on 8 or 9 podcast platforms.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I gotta write that down.
Yeah, you should. Anchor, and it's because I do the advertisement. It's the easiest way to make a podcast.
Oh, you're affiliate. You're doing affiliate work.
I think so. You have the option. They give it to everyone who's starting out, and you get like 10 cents per every like 10,000 people. So it's not, or not 10,000, 1,000 listens or something.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's something per listens, and it's a very low amount, but I still have it on there because also I do think that it's a really cool like service to go through for your podcast, because they do make it easy. They have music that you can use. They like have some editing tools, but I do everything else in GarageBand. And yeah, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. You don't have to distribute it, which is nice that Anchor does it for you.
Yeah. Anchor as in ANCHOR.
Yep. And then I think it's anchor.fm.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. I will have to take a look at that, because when I expand outside of YouTube, I'll have to see where.
Yeah. And all the audios, like if you've saved your videos, you can probably get the audio from your videos, like you were saying, and just like upload all of them. It
would be a painful, I thought about it, how long that would be, because I have like 73 episodes, and I would imagine I'm not going to do this anytime soon until like it takes off on YouTube, because I don't see, for me, I can't see me doing it. So like, let's say it's 100 to 150 hour long audio files I got to download.
You can start doing throwbacks, like once a week you do a throwback episode and put in one of your old episodes or something.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. I'm so, you'll have to tell me when you do that, because I'm a podcast like person. I really like or listen to podcasts.
Yeah. What kind of podcasts do you listen to?
So typically I have a few that so one is for my business. So I listen to like entrepreneurship podcasts and like online marketing. And then I also listen to this podcast called the Ultimate Health Podcast. And that one is Ultimate Health. It's really cool. And then I also listen to one, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's for health and wellness coaches. So I can learn more about what's going on in that world right now.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the way today's going to work is going to be a little different than the like interview that we did. I really am very passionate about learning about other people's passions. And I think that it's important to talk about things that other people are passionate about, especially when they're doing it like you are, like the things you're passionate about, you're like bringing it to fruition, bringing it to life. And I feel like when you share that story of your passion, it inspires other people to start taking more time and putting more time and effort into making their passion come to life instead of just putting it on the back burner because they don't think that they're worth it, or they think they don't have enough time, or it won't make them money.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just switching up my gallery view.
You're fine. So I'm going to ask you just some questions about what you are passionate about.
Let's do it.
Yes. And usually most people, when I ask them to be on the podcast, they're like, can you please send me like an agenda or like what we're going to be talking about? So I didn't give you a heads up. So some of these questions may be a surprise.
Yeah. I don't work off an agenda, as you know.
Yes. Yeah. And it's nice. I actually tried my last interview that I did this interview, and then afterwards we continued talking. So I did like this interview, and then I put and shenanigans. So yeah, that to put them together.
More shenanigans is good.
I love shenanigans.
Let's see. If you put me on the hot seat, though, I might not be able to answer all of them. We'll see.
That's okay. Yeah, and take your time too, because they are like some of them are. I won't tell you what they are. I'll just surprise you and put you in.
Surprise me.
Yes.
Let's do it.
But it's all going to be answers that you know because they're all about you.
Maybe. Yes. We'll see. I don't know myself too much.
Well, maybe this will help you get to know yourself a little bit.
All right.
So I know that what you're doing with Hidden Doors podcast is like inspiring people and motivating people and like spreading like education and information, which is really great. And then also interviewing people that are doing inspiring, helpful things. Is that what you are passionate about?
Very, very passionate about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be spending so much damn time on it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if you want me to talk through it more, but it's like
I was about to ask you.
I felt like a lot of my time growing up, I was like super ignorant, and I thought I actually wasn't ignorant. I thought I like knew everything, and it's so and when you look back at that, it's like, what? How? Like you literally didn't know anything, and then I started to read a lot. And I started to learn, like I was in school, I took all those classes, but there's so much information outside of just conventional schooling that you're not aware of unless you're like reading. Like, are you reading how to make the best investments? Are you reading the healthiest diet that you could put for yourself? I've had heartburn for a long, long time, and take Prilosec and all that stuff. But did I learn the reasons why I had heartburn? Was I setting goals for myself? Did I know how to communicate effectively? Could I put a presentation together that I was confident about? So many things, and there's probably more that I just started getting like, I don't know exactly why I did, but I just started going on like a tangent of just wanting to read, because each book I would read, it would be like, it would just be so enlightening that I didn't know this information before. And like, it just got me so hyped. I was like, oh my God, I just learned so much. And then get another book and then it's like on average reading 2 to 3 books a month. Wow. And I got to a point where I was like, Jesus, like, imagine if I could put the 5 to 7 years of this information journey I've been on and give it to myself when I was 19 or 20, 22 years old, and how far advanced I would be at that point. Like if I just decided I'm going to start doing this at 16, like how far would I be? I don't know. Probably a lot more. And I don't know. And for some reason, it's like, I don't know if this is a inherent calling in me, but I like to now try to do that to other people who are in my position. So the hidden doors, hopefully one day I can call it a media empire. I don't know if I ever will, but the idea is that one day I was just like, I want to write a book. I want to write a book condensing all of the information that I've learned and give it to younger people, but anyone who, I guess, because you can fall into a slump and you can never have been on this journey, and you can still be older and there's still so much potential, but at any age you can learn. So mainly I was trying to target it towards younger people, but even older. And I wanted them to get inspired and informed by this so they can live better lives, because it's so easy. It is so easy to live a better life. It's just information in this world. Like I've had, I was telling my heartburn journey. I've had heartburn for like 10, 15 years. And it was a few hours of dedicating time to reading a book and understanding it and starting a new diet. That wasn't like a rocket science. It wasn't like the hardest thing in the world. I wasn't drilling in the middle of the ocean, getting hit by 30-foot swells. I was just reading a damn book and I changed my life because of information. And so if I can do that with other people, then I don't know, for some reason, I feel like I want to do that. And the book can only go so far. I thought a nice way to promote that book was doing a podcast like this. And, that turned into me trying to promote the book so much. But then I said, you know what? Who the hell am I? I don't know everything. So I want to get other people and talk to them. And I'm trying to turn it into a big, organization where I can inform and inspire people, whether that be a book, whether it be a podcast, whether that be a short video on TikTok. That is essentially my passion that I've been working so hard for the past 6 to 8 months.
Wow, that's incredible. And I had no clue like the background to that and like the reasoning behind it, like being able to help individuals that might be going through their life, maybe thinking they know everything or maybe knowing they don't know everything, and just like having something that can enlighten them. And especially the way that you do your podcast and the way you talk about things, you open it up to more questions. So after they learn something from you, it kind of piques an interest, or at least for me. And I'm like, oh, I need to go look that up, or I need to go research that. So you're encouraging this curiosity in people.
I hope I am. You got to be curious if you want to learn.
Yeah.
There was a poster I bought like a handful of years ago, put in my apartment. It was from Neil. What's the science dude's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Mm-hmm. Something about curiosity. I forget what the hell it is, but he's like, you can never be ignorant as long as you're curious, or something like that. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
That my wife was going through some crazy studying, and I was trying to inspire her a little bit, put a little poster on Neil deGrasse Tyson. Boom. You got to be curious in this world.
Yeah. I completely agree. That is beautiful. Like your passion was so much bigger than what I knew of it.
Yeah.
So do you remember, I know you kind of talked about like the series of events that led up to you like creating the podcast and did you write a book, or you wanted, or you're
No, I did write a book.
Did you really? Please tell me about it. Can you like I have it right here. Let me show you.
This is the book. It's the same like type of branding, the hidden doors. So it's called The Hidden Doors to Success. And then to promote the book, it was the Hidden Doors podcast. So that's why it's called the Hidden Doors podcast, because the book's called The Hidden. This was first. The book was first.
Yeah, you should say that more.
But here's the issue. In the beginning, I said it a lot, and then it started to sound too cheesy. Like, how many times could I say, go buy my book, buy my book.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I actually don't mind this podcast thing. So I'll just start doing a real podcast, and we'll have both. And I refer to it,
Oh,
when I
good.
want to, but I don't I don't do it with overkill because I think that will be a little cheesy.
Yeah. Do you write that in your description that you have the book? Because I had no clue.
In my description, I don't know if I do. I
Or like
might.
even putting it at the bottom, like, hey, if you like want a more tangible version of this, or if you
That is a
want to read my
beautiful
book,
point.
you know.
Yeah.
Also something that I've learned in my marketing, not to go off on a tangent, but just kind of, this is exciting. I didn't know you wrote a book. But something that a lot of like really, or like the more successful people that I follow, when they do like you know how you do a sponsored ad like for other people, you can kind of have like a sponsored ad in a way for your book, like just showing like, hey, you know, just saying this is podcast, or like podcast is sponsored by my book.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen people do that, and I've heard it on
that's
podcasts
not cheesy
too.
though.
No, oh, at least I think it's really cool. And the people that do it kind of make it a little funny of like, you know, like this is, you know, it's this thing again, and I'm going to talk about it again, but you know, there's a reason why I'm talking about this, because it's that good.
Actually, so my plan initially was I didn't know how long I would do the podcast for. And so initially my plan was I would do like each chapter point I made in the book, I would do a podcast on. So the
Oh, nice.
first few are like talking about, I like have the book open and I'm like going through some, and then I was like, you know, I can't do 70 podcasts on this book. So I like started to open it up to other things.
Yeah. And you've done more than 70 videos now.
Yeah. On like 70, I'm probably on 80 at this point.
That's really incredible. It takes so much time.
It
So much
does.
time. And I
It is time
appreciate it
consuming.
as a like as a person that follows you and subscribes to your stuff. I like appreciate it.
And as someone who does this, you know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
work.
Yes. Yes, I do. I'm not at three a week. I'm just starting to get to doing 2 a week, but I'm still kind of iffy.
2 weeks hard.
It.
Look,
Yeah.
yeah, not even 1 a week.
Yeah.
It's a learning process.
Exactly. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear about that. And I want to tell more people that you have a book now.
Hey, spread it. Spread the
Yes,
news
I
because we haven't
definitely
had enough
will.
book sales yet.
Yeah, I will ask for your like information at the end, and then maybe we can write it down too, so I can put it in the description. Just so anyone that wants to see your book and wants
Yeah, that'd be
to read
beautiful.
it, that would be amazing. So the next question that I have for you is like, what else do you have going on outside? Oh, actually, I didn't even get to the first question. Was there an exact moment that you knew like, okay, I'm starting a podcast and for this book, or I'm going to write a book? Like, what was that like spark moment, if you had one?
Well, I've had many, when I say many, well, maybe not even many, but many spark moments, I think.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I started reading after I felt like I was pretty ignorant. The first book that I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And that was a huge impetus in my life, a huge moment of change of how I thought about things. It was like I don't know if you know the book, but it's about goal setting.
Yeah.
And before I wasn't setting my mind to anything as far as like setting goals, I would just live. And then after that, I was like, oh, like I could just, I could accomplish more if I like set my mind to things and be
Yeah.
very narrowly focused on things. Obviously, it's good to be narrowly focused, but also have the wider context. But you can't be too narrowly focused. But if you're setting goals on something and you put all of your energy and time and focus into it, it's much easier to accomplish than if you're not focused on anything. So that helped me a lot. That was a big like, oh, reading actually does have a lot of value in it. You know, like before I was reading, I was just like, they're going to say stuff that I already know. So why the hell am I going to read it? That was my
Yeah.
attitude. And then I started reading more and I was like, oh, okay, got it. Interesting. And
Yeah.
so I had a lot of those moments of, and it's interesting, like a lot of moments where, you know, I'd read something about maybe having difficult conversations or presenting or, you know, any of that type of stuff that related to my work. And then after I'd read the book, I'd go to work and I'd have that tool in my toolkit, that new tool would help me so much. And I'm like, oh my God, why aren't people like that's a part of the reason why I do this. It's like, I'm like, why don't people walk around and give like help like that? Like,
Yeah.
it would be awesome if someone just told me that you could have handled it if you just went like did this. But
Exactly.
why aren't people telling you? Is it because people don't know, or the people who know, are they selfish and don't want to tell you, or
Yeah.
maybe it's just like they don't have a need to tell you. I don't know, whatever the hell it is. That's why I was like, why isn't this out there more? Because there's gold in these damn books. So that was a lot of moments that led up to me just challenging myself more, me wanting to read more. And yeah, why did I don't even know why the hell I wrote the book. I think like um there was a I don't know if this is exactly why. I think the reason why I wrote the book is probably a combination of accumulation of the 7 to 8 years of being on this quest where every time almost every book, I'd say, what, like, unbelievable. I don't know how the hell people are not on the rooftop saying, do this.
Yeah.
And I think that all have just accumulated into like, I moved into my new house, and I was, I was at a point where I didn't like not taking on new challenges and not learning. I didn't want to be afraid and take a first step on basic stuff. This doesn't have to be like, you take over the world challenge. The challenge could be so simple that people may not take. And we had a new house, and I was just like, I remember just like, ripping out like the bathroom and just doing things I've never done before and doing quick YouTube videos. And it felt nice. And I don't know, at that point, I was just like, you know what? People need to start challenging themselves, need to learn more. And all this accumulation of learning. And by the way, when I say this, I know in my head, I know a tiny speck of what I need to know. That's why I continue doing this, because I don't want to be how I was, 10 years ago, where you think you know everything. So, I know that I've learned a lot, but I know that I still don't know a lot compared to the wealth of knowledge that's in people's heads, but also that's not in people's heads. So I realize that. So I don't want to sound ignorant here and thinking that and sound cocky, because it's definitely not the case. But I have learned a lot, and I feel like me 10 years ago would have helped. So that accumulated into one day. I was just like, I want to write a book. And I really don't know where it came from, honestly. It might have just been like, again, accumulation of all these things. And I don't think anyone took it serious. I don't even know if my wife took it like serious at first. I just like, hey, maybe he will. Because I was on a roll. I was like, you know what? I'm going to redo the bathroom. And then like my wife would be like, thinking that's just something you say. And then I would walk into the bathroom with a hammer and knock out the cabinets. And like, I'm saying, we're doing this. And so maybe a couple of weeks later, I started writing a book. And I wrote a timeline of what I need to get done. And I just started writing. I didn't really care. I didn't care if a publisher would take the book or not. I just wanted to write out all the information. And I knew that I didn't want to waste time. And then this could be a bad decision. I don't know. I didn't want to waste time selling so much of the book and trying to get it published. I just wanted to write the damn thing. And I have a background in advertising. That's like and that might be one of your next questions, but like outside of this, I like have a full-time job.
Yeah. I was about to ask.
I'm not making money with this right now.
Yeah.
So I have a full-time job. I work in advertising. I know how to promote. So I said, I'll just self-publish the book myself. So I did some research on what that looks like. I asked a past author that I've read on his advice, and I came to the conclusion that self-publishing would be best. But I started writing. I just wrote for like 6 months, did a lot of editing, had my parents help with the grammar, because my mom's so much better than grammar than me. And yeah, then I thought I was done. And no way. Then I realized I need to put a cover on this damn thing.
Yeah.
Cover is not that difficult, but then like the formatting of the book kept coming back wrong. So I had to like reformat it multiple times. It's a lot harder than you think. Like
sounds like
you need to be devoted and ready to do it, because you're going to keep hitting keep hitting bumps in the road. And it just depends if a bump in the road is going to annoy you and you're going to say, it's not worth my time, or you're going to say, well, that's just another thing that I have to figure out. And I just kept trying to figure out, but it's not that difficult. you can publish a book relatively easy. It is hard with the writing, obviously, formatting, putting your own cover together, grammar, testing grammar. Then once all that's done, promoting the damn book. You think once this thing's over, people are going to come storming in and buying your book. No one gives a crap. No one cares. So you got to promote the hell out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people, like, I think that everyone should start their own business or do their own side gig or whatever the hell it is, because I don't know, I think it builds character. You think like you think you are, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, go for it.
You may think you're the shit. You think you're so great. And then go ahead, build something that you need to sell. No one gives a crap. So go try to sell it, builds character. I think you need to learn how to like deal with people. You need to learn how to take rejection well. You need to learn how to communicate effectively, strong, and transfer confidence over to people. So it's a very good thing you build something you're passionate about, but then, have people try to buy it from you. You'll see how hard it is.
Yeah. It's humbling almost, or at least in my experience, it's been really humbling because I did the same thing when I started my coaching business. I was just like, all right, I'm going to tell people I'm a coach and everyone's just going to come running to me for every health coach question. And no, that's not how it works.
Nope. At all. You need a little taste of that reality though.
Yeah. I completely agree. And just having something that's like yours that you created is a beautiful aspect of being human. And especially because you can like create art and create music, and then like you can also create a business. You can create a book, you can create a podcast, you can create all of these beautiful things. And it is a completely magical and challenging journey.
Yeah. I have nothing against arts and all that stuff. I just, in my head, I'm a very practical thinker, and I like things when I produce something or create something, I want it to like help a person. That's why, that's sort of, and maybe, art somehow does help people, but to me, I feel like it's a different type. Like I want to help people from the most basic level. I want to give you information that like takes you from a 180, like you 20 years old, don't know what the hell you're doing, give you information and inspiration and turn your freaking life around type of chain. Like I don't know like why.
Tony Robbins-esque sounding.
Maybe. I don't know who. I heard him before, but I don't know exactly who he is.
You should look him up.
I heard his name a few times. I don't know exactly what he does.
Yeah, he does share information too, but mostly like inspiration and motivation and getting people to make that like 180, like you said, of just completely turning their life around. He's a big deal. Huge.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. Yes. I used to, when I first started watching him, I thought he was incredibly like kind of cheesy and like inspiration or like just trying to get money. But then I actually went to like did one of his webinars that he did, because he started doing them, like he was doing everything live, but then after COVID, he started doing stuff online. And so I did one of his online ones and I was like, this is kind of amazing. He makes such a beautiful environment and like everyone's having such a good time, and yeah, it's cool. You should look him up.
Does he have a book out?
I'm sure he like has a book. I don't know if he's written one or not, but I'm sure he does. He has a lot of like different programs, and I'm sure you can watch like interviews with him. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I know he has like these huge courses that like people were really big about years ago. Now he still does stuff, but I feel like I don't hear him as.
He's got to have a book. I'll check him out. I'll check his thing out.
Definitely check him out. So you're working a full-time job outside and you're doing this as well, which is almost like a full-time job if you're posting 3 times a week and interviewing people and scheduling, and then also having written your book. So how do you make time for this, even though you're working full-time and you have child obligations and family, and how do you make time for it?
Well, there's 2 parts of this. One, the second part is more focused on what I do, but I cannot do that if I didn't have the first part. The first part is just I don't think I could do what I do if my wife wasn't here and did what she did, like it'd just be physically impossible. Like we have a daughter, and when I do this, like when I do this, so, most times I try to do it very, very, very early where they're both sleeping. But like sometimes, you know, we're at 7 o'clock right now. She's making sure the baby's like fast asleep and she has her bottle and blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff, I couldn't do that. So part of the reason, at least half the reason I can even have the time to do most of this is my wife. And then outside of that, some people still who have that don't maybe put all the time into it. So the other half is I wake up super early and I put a lot of damn time into it. So I try to wake up at 4 and I do my morning routine, just do a little stretch, do a little 10-minute meditation. Then I do I do word of the day too. So I do a word of the day on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. So like a reel. So do a little word of the day. It's like a 30-second recording. And then then I'll do like maybe if I do a podcast by myself, that's when I'll do it really early in the morning, or I'll schedule podcasts at like 7 p.m. or on a weekend morning when my wife and daughter are still sleeping. So the way I make time for it is my wife is amazing. And then I just wake up super early, and every hour I'm not working, it's usually either I'm just resting my mind or like reading a book, because I do book reviews as well. So it's like, my work is like 8 to 6 usually full time. And so it helps a lot, honestly, that I'm working from home. I work in an advertising agency where we can do all the work through, you know, virtual working, which helps a lot. That does help a lot too, honestly, because I don't have to commute 2 to 3 hours a day. That's another thing that helps. The wife, the freaking working from home and outside. So when I'm not working, I'm most likely eating dinner, playing with my family, my daughter, or like I'm reading a damn book, or waking up super early and trying to get the podcast somewhere, or like pinging someone on LinkedIn that I think would be really cool to have on podcast and like trying to get them on. So I do have downtime, but a lot of it is just like trying to work around my schedule to make sure that I can get, because content, you know, this content 3 days a week plus words of the day every morning. And that's easy because that's not difficult, but it's still work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of time. So, and the planning of the content, the producing of the videos, it's time. So I try to wake up early, work around my schedule. By the time I'm ready to go to sleep, I am freaking exhausted. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah. So you have support. And then other than that, you just make time for it. The time just kind of like appears because you make it happen.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah, that almost reminds me of this book. I don't know if you've ever read, this is the last book that I read. Well, right now I'm reading a book about breathing, but the previous book that I read was one of those books that I was just like, I have never heard that before. And I feel like it's been a while since I've read a self-help book that has done that, because I like tend to read a lot of self-help books, and it's called The Big Leap. And I'm not sure, have you read that one before?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
Yeah. So some of the things that he talks about when it comes to like self-development and like growing yourself and like getting out of your comfort zone and all of that jazz. I was just like, whoa, this is like something I've never read before. And a lot of self-help books, like sometimes they start to sound the same unless they're on something that's like very specific. But this one was like a general self-help book, and it's, yeah, I like, it definitely changed my perspective on things. But then it just talks about like how we have an abundance of time. And when we start to think that way, we start to create more space for all of the things that we have going on, which is what you're doing here. He also talks about us having like a ceiling that we have for ourselves. And whenever we start to go past that ceiling in our life, like we're doing really well and like going past what we're used to, we do something that kind of self-sabotages it, that brings us back down to where we're comfortable. And I thought that was just like a really cool concept, because in my life, I see it as well. And so he talks about just like when you get to that like part where things start to get a little wobbly and uncomfortable, instead of like self-sabotaging and bringing yourself down, allowing yourself to keep rising past that, and just telling yourself that it's he had a word for it. I don't remember exactly what the word is, but he had like a phrase for it, like when you get to your limit, and just like reminding yourself, this is just happening because I reached my ceiling and I'm going past it. So I need to collect myself and not self-sabotage. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend.
It's like, I've heard a metaphor for that. It's like, when you have like what do they call it? When you turn the heat on in your house, what do they call that damn thing? The dial?
The thermostat?
The thermostat. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm being an idiot right now.
No, you're good.
When there's a min and a max, when you have your minimum standards where you want to be.
Yeah.
The heat, when the heat goes on, when it has to be like at a certain temperature, the heat will go on, and that's like you working hard at it. But then once it hits the temperature that it needs to be at, the heat goes back off. You're like, you've hit, and that's like your ceiling. It's like,
yeah,
oh, I've already hit this. Let me just, have a good time, relax. And self-sabotage, doesn't, when you say it, it sounds like you're like really hurting yourself, but it is, I think this is the right word, insidious, if I'm saying it right. It creeps up on you. You've hit your ceiling.
And it's subconscious, or like you don't understand.
Just enjoy life.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't notice you're doing it. And like he talked about that even in relationships. Like one example he gave was, there was this couple, they had a really great relationship and they launched like something really good and they were making a lot of money, but then they started having like arguments in their relationship, and like it was kind of teetering on the edge. And then they went to this guy for guidance and paid him thousands of dollars for him to tell them. He's like I think he does coaching. I don't know if he still does private coaching, but he talked to them and was like, you like went past your ceiling, so now you're kind of like sabotaging it in a way by bickering at each other and like finding things wrong with each other because of this new great thing that happened in your life. So he was like, so keep an eye out for that, because when great things happen in your life, like you start to self-sabotage. And I just thought it was a really I think it was upper limit problem. I think something like that. I'll have to find the book and I'll put it in the description as well, so anyone else that wants to read it. But it just like, it kind of gives you more of an abundant way of thinking, of just like, I can achieve more than I can think, even if I can stop myself from self-sabotaging myself, I can achieve so much more. Yeah.
Set really high limits. Stopping your goal setting. Like, let's say you think you hit your max potential, like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I think like every year you should reset goals of like, where do you want to be in like 1 to 2 years, and how are you going to get there, and what are the actions will you take? So maybe if you get like really comfortable, even then, that's maybe why some people like turn it to philanthropy. Am I saying that right? Philanthropy. So you can like give back. Maybe like your next stage in life is not just like succeeding in life, but maybe it's like letting others succeed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. So on the question of how you make time for it, because you do with support and then also making time for it, why? Like with, you're already doing so much, like why do you make time for this?
That is a good question. When I was writing my book, the big thing, I think there's two things, but the big thing I think that I even write in this book is that I want to have a positive influence on 10,000. I want to have a positive influence on 10,000 people. I wanted to give back to and by the way, I'm not sitting here acting, because I'm not acting like I'm overly successful. I have like an abundance of wealth. I definitely don't, and I'm striving to be there. So don't want to, people to think like, oh, this guy's bullshitting us. I'm not, but I learned a lot, and I thought I can give back the information I had. So I wanted to have a positive influence on people. that's one, that's a strong flame. The other side of it is that I want to set my family up in a position where they don't ever have to worry about money, food, anything. If the college would be paid for, my wife can stop worrying about having to kill herself working full time and trying to raise a big family, because we're not trying to have one kid, we're trying to have more than one kid, and working full time and taking care of maybe 2 to 3 kids is a lot. So like, being able to not have to worry about that. I want to be able to completely help my family and my community. So it's like immediately need to help my family, make sure they're financially set. The other side of it is I want to make more sure my community is also set. That's me saying I want to have a positive influence on 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Why those are the things, I don't really know why. It's just like innate in why I do what I do. First is I just need to make sure my family's good, but then I need to get the community good too. Why? Who the hell knows? But that's the driving force. That is a driving force why I think I do a lot of this.
Yeah. Whenever you, this might be like a weirder question too. I interviewed someone else that had written a book, and I asked them this question. So I'm going to ask you too.
Go ahead.
When you think about someone sitting down to read your book, they get to the end, close the book. What is your, like, what do you want their like outcome or thoughts to be?
So the outcome is I wrote this in the conclusion, actually, because I wanted them to understand where I'm coming from, where I want them to go next. One, I don't have all the answers, and some of the answers that I provide may be wrong. Who knows? You get other perspectives. Like I shouldn't be the only place that you stop off and get information from. Two is I wanted that book to be I called it like the Chronicles. I know the Chronicles of Narnia, where you go, you know the movie or the book
I'm familiar. I've never actually watched all of them.
I think it's called the Chronicles of Narnia. If I'm not, they go into a closet to, to hide and they open up a world they didn't know existed. So my thing was, this book is that closet, and I want this to open up a world that you didn't know existed. So at the end of it, I have a curriculum of topics that I find really important. It's like leadership, communicating, eating healthy. I'll have it all in the back of the book.
Yeah.
Negotiating, investing, selling, meditating, networking, writing proficiently, presenting, setting goals. And it's called the bonus. I don't know if you can see it. Bonus curriculum.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be like a further curriculum. So you're supposed to read the book, be like, oh, okay, those are pretty interesting ideas. Let me go learn more and have a more in-depth reading of each of these topics that I want to be more advanced in. And so my hope is that that's the start of someone's journey, not the middle or the end. It should be the start, because again, I could be wrong with some of the things I'm saying. I could have a different perspective. Someone might have other things they would think differently on. It's just supposed to be the start of opening your journey of learning and improving. That would be my hope when someone reads it.
Wow. That's incredible. And it kind of reminds me of what you said about like where you came from. The first book you read, you're like, whoa, my mind is like so expanded right now. Give me more. I want more. And so you're doing that with your book too. You are like you said, opening the door. And now I understand hidden doors. I get it.
Yeah. Now you get the hidden doors.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's a really cool way to have, like, because, whenever you read a book, most people are like, yeah, I want them to think it was good, or I want them to like, just be moved by it. But you're kind of like, I want to open them to a new world of curiosity, and show them that, not everything you read is going to be right. Even my stuff, like it might not be right. And also the times are always changing too. So it could be relevant then and not relevant now. One that's really courageous. And I feel like, just by the way you described the book, I think that people would have that feeling afterwards.
I hope so.
And also seeing like your ideal client being like younger people, I could see that as being like a starter kit for like just graduating, like graduation gift. Like whenever someone graduates college, like here, take this book, read it, learn the things, because it's like some of these things like we don't learn in high school.
No.
No, not at all. And then your book is kind of, that'd be a cool graduation gift to get, just so like, here's everything, and like, and then more.
Yeah. Well, because like the whole thing about this book is I say that at this point, okay, so at this point it was a succinctly summarizing what I've learned over 90 books that I've read in it, but also like working and applying those into like real life. So like I would, like I said, I would learn something, I'd apply it to my job, and like, oh, that worked really well, and I just keep doing that. So it was like hours and hours and hours. So the whole thing is that if for you to accumulate that much time as someone who maybe is just about to go to college, or someone who just graduated from college, that's going to take time to, even if you're like a fast reader, you read 3 books a month, you still have, if you need to like read 90 to 100 books to understand how to do all these things, that's time consuming. So maybe this is like your first step to saying,
exactly,
okay, there's a lot of shit out there here. I want this to be the first step. And then you can decide like, oh, I don't know investing that well, I need to know better. Okay, no, we'll go here. Here's the things that are interesting to the books that I've read that I think could help you. And so that's the hope.
That is so cool. I'm getting super, I have to go buy your book because I really want to read it now. That's amazing. For some reason, my sister has her watch and it's always set to like go off at 6 o'clock, and she doesn't know why, and I don't know why, but yes, so that's what that is. So we went over how you make time for it, why you make time for it. This is like the biggest question, like the reason that I do this type of interview with individuals. So my question for you is, do you have any advice for anyone that's out there that has a passion but might be fearful to follow it for any reason?
Yes. Gotta so like I talk about this a lot on my podcast, but I try to just say, things that you want to go after. Like if you look at the whole picture and you think you're going to get there tomorrow, it's never, like, it's not going to happen. So I say, take one step, take baby steps, and you'll eventually get further and further. You can't cross the ocean in one step. You'll get there in multiple steps. And I also just say that every single endeavor you go after in your life, not all of them are going to turn out to be beautiful success stories. So if for some reason you're nervous on taking the first step because like there's a chance it might go horribly wrong, then you can't do anything, because there's like in my book, in the introduction of my book, I said, I know writing this that there's a very high likelihood that this doesn't sell any books, or if it does sell, it's a tiny amount. And I said, like, there's maybe a 5% chance it turns out to be a really good book. And I said, I don't care, because I'm doing it because I like to do it, and I'm going to learn from it. Like I learned a ton just from reading the book, and whether or not, I think it's like you're on this, as long as you get on the road, you get on the damn road and go forward, then there's going to be a fork. And then who knows, you might have to make a right or left. And the path is not going to look beautifully straight. It's going to be multiple forks. You're going to go this way and that way, but you're going to move forward. And all those curves are learning stepping stones I'm talking about. I'm basically just saying, just try the damn thing. Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
It's a very high likelihood it doesn't work out. But the highest likelihood is that it's going to actually give you a skill set that's going to help you in your next endeavor. I know the book is a high likelihood it didn't turn into a major success. I don't really give a crap, because I learned from it. The podcast, same story. I keep learning skills, keep challenging myself, learning skills, building skills, and it's going to eventually keep snowballing into things that maybe in 2 years, something else, pops. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter to me. I think when you just don't do anything because there's a very high likelihood that you'll fail, then you just won't ever learn. And if you're not learning, if you're not improving, if you're not challenging yourself, you're not putting yourself through hard situations, then you'll be comfortable. but you'll fail and be a comfortable failure. I say that there's no failing is only when you're not maximizing your potential. Failing is not going after like everything. Well, you can't go after everything because you need to focus your time on things. But if there's like one thing you'd really love to do and you're not doing it because like you're afraid of maybe it's like a good likelihood it doesn't work out, then you know what? To me, that's failing. But if you do that and you fail and then it helps you out 3 years later because you did multiple things and helps you out, then you succeed, I think that's great. The other thing is like, things don't have to be super high levels of investment. If you like this podcast, I didn't start with again, I'm not saying it's highly successful, but this podcast, I'm putting minimum in levels of investment. You don't need to like, if you want to start your passion, I need to put like 50,000 down towards it. I'm sure there's things that you could do for your passion that will be cheap, that it costs time, not a ton of money, that you can do. So there's almost no reason for it. You will learn, you will likely fall on your face multiple times, but you'll learn, and it'll be cheap, but it'll put your time towards it. And so there's no reason not to do it. So that's how I would talk to people about this stuff. It's like, just freaking do it. Who gives a crap if you fall on your face? You better fall on your face, because if you don't, then you'll think you're hot shit. And if you think you're hot shit, you'll never want to learn and improve. There you go. That's it.
Exactly. No, that's incredibly well said. And I think it's interesting that I've asked so many people this question, and so many people have like different answers. And yeah, of course it comes down to taking the action. But the way each person says it is so different.
Well, I'm a very practical person. So like, I don't speak in like theoretical talk. I just say, do it. Just do the damn thing.
Exactly. And I love and appreciate the way that you said it as well. And thinking back, like I'm processing some of what you do.
That's what my wife does, processing the shit I say.
That's so funny. I do that too when people tell me a lot of stuff at once. I'm like, let me process this and then I'll respond. But yeah, speaking on the failure and just getting out there and not being afraid to fail. And yeah, you're going to fail and it's going to suck and it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's better than you have not even trying at all. So I thought that was a very beautiful thing to mention to others.
It's failing wisely though. Don't fail like an idiot. Don't don't put zero amount of research into something that you're going to invest all your money that you just saved into a restaurant that you have no idea how it might be profitable. Like, that's stupid. Like, fail wisely. If this podcast fails, I lost maybe a couple $1,000s. I wouldn't put all my savings into a restaurant or a business that I have zero idea of how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, you told me don't be afraid of failure. Well, don't fail like an idiot. Be wise with it.
Yeah. And like you mentioned too, like not putting so much investment up front, because you never know, like you could try it and not like it. Or like you said, you can try it without doing the research and then not have much of a market for it or not be able to do it well. So yeah, that's a good thing to go into it. Like educate yourself. Again, coming back to information and education, educating yourself prior to going into those endeavors, and then it makes the failing suck less.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I'm sure there are failures that will suck too. Like you got to, you've heard of all the stories. I lost all my damn money and I started from zero, and then they ended up being. I'm sure that happens sometimes.
Oh, so
you can't avoid that. Yeah, you can't avoid it always.
Yeah. That's very true. And that happens a lot, actually. Or I feel like at least a lot of success stories have that, to where they had a huge failure and then they rose from the ashes and became the beautiful people they are today and successful people.
Ray Dalio was, I think, relatively successful and then lost everything, had to borrow money from his dad or uncle, and now he's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's
But
Steve
yeah,
Jobs was like that too, and that he was successful and then he was fired from his own company and
yeah.
had to restart again.
Steve Jobs, a legend, that guy.
Oh my gosh, yes. And he has the beautiful quote of like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And that's one of my favorite quotes by him.
I love it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for answering all of my questions.
Is that it?
I have one more, and it's just on like how people can reach you. So for
Got it.
anyone that's listening right now, if they want to hear more from you, how can they find you?
They can find me on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. YouTube is probably the best place to start. The channel is the Hidden Doors Podcast with Chris Infanzon. And that'll take you to my channel, which has all the links to all my social media. But that is the place where I got all the information with the podcast, with the word of the day. And that it is a good first place to start. I don't have a website yet. I don't have that yet. The YouTube channel's your go-to place for everything that I do.
Yeah. And the book. You'll have to send
and
me
the book.
link of where to find the book. And it's called The Hidden Doors.
The Hidden Doors to Success. It's on Amazon.
Amazon.
So it could be on Amazon Prime. You can get it 2-day shipping, or you can get it on a Kindle, depending on what kind of format you like.
Yeah.
I'll send it over.
Nice. Yes, please do. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Of course.
And then also inspiring me to post it on YouTube. So now people can see my face and me in this dark room because I didn't put lights on.
Well, the light, you got the good light. The light's shining.
Yeah, it's coming from my computer.
Oh, got it.
Yes. So now I'm just like the creep sitting in the dark house. That's all right. You know,
it's actually very nice that I don't have to do any editing after this to get the post up.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, well, that's a good first step. And now I got to download the file. I got to upload it. I got to put I got to describe
it's all in my hands tonight. Yes, that's what I'll be doing with my afternoon, my evening. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. And thank you for all of the conversation. Man, we almost made like exactly an hour almost. That's kind of
well, it's because I was a little late. So
yeah, that's why
otherwise it would have been perfect.
Yeah, no, it is perfect because you came in a little late and we're ending like almost at an hour since you came in. So that's really cool.
Nice.
Sweet. Yay, we did good timing.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And thanks for having me on yours first. That was an awesome opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it in the future.
I know. Yes. We need to keep collaborating. And also we need to advertise your book because that stresses me out that you're not advertising it.
Well, I actually did. I did advertise it. It's just like I couldn't spend so much money on it. Yeah. Like it wasn't giving me a net positive on the advertising. I would do Amazon advertising, and I do a little bit of advertising for the podcast, but I couldn't justify spending like $10,000 to $20,000 a year if it wasn't driving any revenue.
And I'd say just doing it organically with your YouTube channel and even like the TikTok maybe too. I don't know. Yeah. That's super cool.
I'm a big fan of let the eyeballs come. And then once the eyeballs there, you can sell it. But like, I got to get my TikTok up first. I got like 130. I just started TikTok like a few months ago, like in December.
TikTok's a lot of work. Well, you're doing word of the days, which is nice. But like when you make like longer videos or videos that are like the more like crazy ones, that's so much work. Yeah.
What I like about word of the day is it's just structured and it's like quick. So it's like everything is the same. It's just a different word of the day. So it's now the downside is that it's not super enticing either. You know, it's not going to go viral. No one's going to go viral on a word of the day. Like things that go viral, people are doing funny things. So it's structured, but it's slower to grow. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it works.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I do appreciate it. I like learning the new words that you come up with, or at least when I don't go on TikTok very often, but when I see it on YouTube, I'm like, oh, click.
This is where I get it from.
The words you should know to sound smart. Perfect. What do you tell people that that's where it's coming from?
No.
You should, because I feel like having that behind it, like just that whole factor of like, oh, you'll sound smarter if you know these words. Maybe more people would click on it too.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, super cool. Oh, yeah. I love talking to like fellow, because you're an entrepreneur, like with your podcast and with your book, and so it's nice to talk to like a fellow entrepreneur.
Yes, fellow entrepreneur that hasn't made it yet.
Hello,
working in the trenches.
Yes, I am right there with you. It takes time to get there.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that. I gotta go get some damn sleep. I am exhausted.
Get some sleep. I need to turn on some lights.
Yeah. Thank you again. I will send you all the information. Appreciate you.
Yes, please do. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.